And welcome back to Hannity and our weekly edition of Media Mash. Tonight we take a closer look at the mainstream Obama mania media's ridiculous coverage of the rapper Common's appearance at the White House last night and the death of Osama bin Laden and much more. Joining us, as always, to help break it all down is the president of the Media Research Center, the one and only Brent Bozell. Brother Bozell, good to see you, sir.
Brother Hannity, how are we?
Thank me. All right. ABC says Common is not controversial. They call the reference to assassinating George Bush edgy. Let's roll the tape.
Common is not particularly controversial. He's not a gangster rapper. He's been in a Jonas Brothers song, Gap ads, and a Queen Latifah rom-com. But the poet/performance artist is not without his moments of edginess, taking on President Bush in this performance.
Why they messing with Saddam? Burn a bush, cause for peace, he no push no button. Killing over oil and grease, no weapons of destruction.
And in this song from 11 years ago, Common praised a fugitive convicted of brutally murdering a state trooper in 1973.
Scandalous the police were, as they kicked and beat up.
This is just edgy. You know what? I've decided anytime a conservative gets in trouble, Brent, that we will just refer to this as poetry. Artists, they're artists, and anything they say, we will thread the needle and say that this is protected under the common standard.
Does that mean you and I have to learn how to rap?
No, it just means that anything. I am officially a poet. This is well, art. So there's nothing that crosses any boundary here.
No, Sean Hannity, this is for them to say it's just a little bit edgy. In a sense, it's true. For Hollywood, it is edgy to sell. It's okay to have people on the mainstream of Hollywood who celebrate cop killers, real people killing real police officers. And they're celebrated by these quote-unquote poets, and they are mainstream in Hollywood. And that it's a horrific indictment of our culture. But, you know, where are the national media? Where is the controversy? Here we go again, Sean. It's another Reverend Wright. It's another Bill Ayers scandal of the Obamas surrounding themselves with these anti-American, American-hating people. But now at the White House, and now they're fitting these people. They're praising these poets who are celebrating people killing police officers.
You know, imagine President Bush. Imagine President Bush inviting two people in one night to the White House that were against interracial relationships. What do you think would happen?
Or maybe bringing in death squads from El Salvador to sing their praises. Wow. Just imagine the outrage. Now, Jake Tapper, give him credit. ABC covered it this morning, but only one story. CBS, NBC, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, not surprising. All right, after the bin Laden raid, which killed him, media is ready to call it. 2012 election, there's no point in even announcing. As a matter of fact, I don't think Republicans should put up a candidate because Obama's already won, because the media tells us so.
The political impact, the ultimate commander-in-chief moment for Obama. Is it a game changer for 2012 as a still unsettled Republican field holds its first debate?
President Obama thought that President Bush should get credit because he invited him to go to Ground Zero. I think the reason that Bush didn't go is the photograph of the two of them together would have locked the re-election of Barack Obama in 2012.
It's over. The election's over. There's no point in it. Forget the economy. Forget interest rates. Forget deficits for the debt. You know, forget the Miranda rights for enemy combatants. None of this matters.
This is the media. You know how you go into spin rooms after a primary and the candidates and their press offices are just spinning, which is another way of saying lying through their teeth. This is pure spinning. It's absolutely untrue. Look, George Bush 41 after the first Gulf War had an approval rating of 91%. You saw how well that served him 1 year later. George Bush 43 had a 91% approval rating after 9/11. Look how well that lasted him. Look where Barack Obama is today. He went up into the 50s. He's back down to 47, right where he was. I will tell you, by next year, this will be an absolute non-issue for the campaign. This will not help him one iota.
Good prediction. And Brent Bozell, good to see you. We'll have more on the Common controversy coming up and how terrorists could exploit the Mexican border. We have shocking new details that the U.S. government does not want you to hear. But first, investigators uncover incredible new information about bin Laden's recent involvement with al-Qaeda directly from the source himself. Colonel Oliver North is here. He'll explain. And why are we even learning about this intelligence? Shouldn't they keep this stuff quiet? Next. Intelligence officials hit the jackpot with material they found inside bin Laden's Pakistani compound, including the terrorist's personal handwritten journal. Now, according to the Associated Press, bin Laden writes in the journal about planning another 9/11-style attack on America, urging al-Qaeda leaders to target Los Angeles and New York on holidays like the 4th of July. Now, his writings also reveal that he was involved in every recent al-Qaeda plot. And meanwhile, the great photo debate rages on. The administration released the photographs to a small group of lawmakers earlier today, including Oklahoma Senator James Inhofe.
They're gruesome, of course, because it was taken right after the incident. To those individuals that might be offended, they're trying to kill us anyway. You know, you can't say, well, we don't want to make the terrorists mad. I just don't buy that argument. I wanted to see so I could do what I'm doing right now and describe it to people who didn't have the opportunity, and hopefully they will have the opportunity to see the ones that were from the ship.
And joining me now with reaction, the host of War Stories, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Colonel, good to see you, sir.
It's great to be with you, my friend, and I appreciate very much you loaning me your time slot on Friday night. So
I'm glad to, especially with the allergies that I got.
Look at it. What we just saw, the information about the intelligence treasure trove, and the discussions about the photographs, and all of the narrative that's come out from this administration are seriously jeopardizing our efforts to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon and to make sure that the Pakistanis don't lose control of theirs. These people in this administration have got to learn how to keep their mouths shut.
Well, that's what I'm sitting here reading all this. Dear Diary, bin Laden describes his violent goals, and I'm thinking, why do I know that?
But wouldn't it be far better if the terrorists, and al-Qaeda still exists, the war on terror is still on, didn't know what we know?
Yeah.
What our government knows.
Why didn't we let him know we have a treasure trove? The computers, his personal diaries, all the information. Why did they release that?
Because it was necessary to the victory lap that Mr. Obama needed to take to prove that he was the commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful military. And all of this jeopardizes our goals, our national security, and our ability to conduct these kinds of operations out in that part of the world in the future.
What do you make from these diaries? He was very well aware of U.S. counterterrorism efforts, was warning his associates about it. He also wanted to wreak political havoc within the country, and he was planning and orchestrating all these attacks. What do you glean from all this?
Well, I glean from it that somebody in Pakistan, not just one, but probably dozens of people fairly high up in their regime, understood where he was, what he was doing, and how he was doing it. Those people need to be rooted out by the Pakistani government and literally locked up or sentenced to some kind of term where they cannot threaten their own government, because that's what it was. Second of all, we've got to make our aid to Pakistan, military, economic, humanitarian, and intelligence, contingent upon them cooperating with us in this effort. The Pakistani nukes get in the hands of the Islamists, or if Tehran gets the nuclear weapon that they're trying to build, we're in trouble, particularly if we don't have the bases on either side of Iran.
If we're not in trouble, Israel will be in trouble first. And, you know, this is what concerns me about the rift, if you will, that has existed with our relationship with Israel since President Obama took office.
It ought to be very clear to everybody that certainly it is clear in Jerusalem to the Israelis that they're not going to get any help from the United States. We continue to sell munitions and the like to them. But in fact, if Hezbollah acts up in South Lebanon, if Hamas in Gaza launches further attacks, Israel's going to have to stand on their own. And they know that with this administration. Right. Until we have a change in Washington, they're in trouble.
All right. Two other sort of side issues that we really haven't talked a lot about. And one is, had the helicopter not had mechanical trouble and they blew it up, we would have probably taken all of those people out of the compound. We would have.
Well, I don't necessarily think you would have taken all of them.
Why?
You certainly would have. Well, because, in part because you're not going to get anything out of a kid, and there are some children out there.
The adults,
folks in the well, you'd certainly want to get some information from them. You know, the intelligence value that you can get from somebody if you're allowed to sit and ask them questions with something other than, you know, a cigarette in their hand, then you can probably exploit that very, very rapidly.
Right.
I mean, you can at least analyze it fast, and instead of going through this, quote, treasure trove of, they're taking hundreds of thousands of documents and disks and thumb drives and all of this, which we should never have acknowledged.
Never. We should have just acted like we didn't have it. All right. The other thing is the helicopter parts that were left, apparently there was new technology on those helicopters. Well, now, China's been trying to get their hands on it.
Yeah.
Certainly there's going to be, there's a million pictures of it out there.
Once again,
shouldn't we demand that be returned immediately?
Had the administration not gone out and made this big chest-thumping victory lap, it would have been far easier to find the friends in Pakistan that we do have to get that stuff back to us. And it's made it much more difficult for them to do so because they've got their own domestic problems.
So they should have kept quiet for a long time that he was dead.
You know, it's happened before. Ronald Reagan, well, you can run, but you can't hide. And that's all
true.
it was said.
That's it.
Same SEAL team.
All right. Now, you are, did you say you were taking over my show?
I'm borrowing
you
your
said
time
you were
slot.
hijacking the show.
I didn't say it was a coup. No,
a coup. Yeah. Well, you're in for me. You're not in for me. You're doing your own show tomorrow night. I have a night off.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Sean has loaned us his time slot to give you a great special about Afghanistan. We've got some footage just to tease it right here.
Now, with the sun up, the 2 Mi-17 Russian helicopters and 3 Huey gunships close in on the target.
The men and women of the DEA realize that the stakes are very high here in Afghanistan. We take this very seriously. We are here to assist our U.S. troops in every way we can. And we feel by every operation that we go out and are successful, we're taking money away from the Taliban.
Once on site, the agents and special operators head uphill to the objective.
The Taliban purport to be a deeply religious organization, but today they're supported by the opium trade. Cutting their financial links is the mission of the DEA and these special operators.
I mean, the places you've been, the things you've done, and the stories you tell privately are priceless.
I got the best job in the world, keeping company with heroes.
You do. You do. All right. Safe home, Colonel. Good to see you.
Appreciate you.
And be sure to catch Colonel North's special tomorrow night, War Stories, Afghanistan, American Special Ops. That's tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, right here in place of me on the Fox News Channel. And Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled. Our great, great, great American panel is next.